Hi, I'm Eric. I'm one of the co-founders of Doomlings, and today we're going to talk a little bit more about the synergies between our Shadow Puppets Bolster expansion and the Imaginary Ends Variety expansion. Let's dive in. Typically, when we're working on an expansion, we design it specifically to be played with the classic game of Doomlings. This is true with Shadow Puppets, but Shadow Puppets really shines when you combine it with the Imaginary Ends Variety expansion. Both Shadow Puppets and Imaginary Ends contain cards from the Deeplings, Moonlings, and Glitterlings clades. This means that there are even more opportunities to use the Deeplings suppress effect, for instance, and fun new ways to benefit from it. Too Many Eyes from Shadow Puppets, for instance, is a -1 face value trait that you can play into any trait pile at any time. But before you go placing it into an opponent's trait pile, consider the fact that it can't be removed from a trait pile once it's played into one. My advice, play it into your own. Maybe you'll get lucky and play Ethereal from Imaginary Ends as one of your dominants, which lets you suppress a card at the end of each of your turns. Suppress a bunch of cards underneath Too Many Eyes, and all eyes will be on you, because that's a lot of bonus points that can't be touched. All right, let's talk about Moonlings. Let's go back and say my first dominant is Jibwib from Imaginary Ends, which is 6 points and gives 5 bonus points to all players with a gene pool of 2 or lower at the end of the game. Now there's a few different ways I can play this. With Ferp from Shadow Puppets, I lower my gene pool by 2, which gets me closer to earning those 5 bonus points. And maybe my opponent played something like Brute Strength earlier, so I take that to make sure I get the bonus points and make it less likely that they do. Or, instead of Ferp, maybe I cook up a big brain play and hope that I can hold on to a card like Wojomon until the time is right. This might allow me to have a high gene pool until after the second catastrophe, when I use it to swap gene pools with someone that has a low gene pool. You get the versatility and flexibility between each of these two expansions, right? Finally, the Glitterling that I want to talk about from Shadow Puppets is also a Deepling, which makes it a Fuzeling. It's called Shrouded, and it allows me to draw any cards that are suppressed underneath it at the start of any of my turns. So, I've got that in my hand, and let's say my second dominant, instead of Wojomon, is Awesome from Imaginary Ends. But oh no, I just drew Tiny. I can't have all those points because both of my dominant slots are filled up. I could try holding on to it until the end of the game, and maybe I'll get all of Tiny's points from Awesome's effect. But I'm worried a catastrophe or an opponent is going to force me to discard Tiny. Never fear, because Shrouded is here. I'm gonna suppress Tiny under Shrouded and draw it back into my hand before the last catastrophe, which will allow me to score all those sweet, sweet points. So those are just a few of the fun synergies that exist between Shadow Puppets and Imaginary Ends, which will both elevate your game of Doomlings. There are countless more for you to discover, so be sure to join our communities on Facebook and Discord, because that's where the crazy strategies are shared. And if you haven't already picked up your copy of Shadow Puppets and Imaginary Ends, what are you waiting for? The end of the world?